Hello, I'm Matt Wallace with Elite Foam. What we have here are the 3 generations of gel coatings. Generation 1 is a thin layer of gel coated onto the surface with a thin layer of plastic on top. This thin layer of plastic on top actually canceled out any and all airflow that could travel through the foam. In remedy to fix the airflow and heat buildup problem with Generation 1, they developed Generation 2. They ventilated holes on the surface in order to correct the heat buildup issue, but as you can see, it's still just laminated on the surface and still has a thin layer of plastic on top. Generation 3, which is actually Elite Foam's COOLTOUCH, is infused down into the surface, still maintaining 100% of its airflow. What we're going to do to demonstrate these products against one another is by using this setup we have here. We have a IR infrared imaging camera with a live feed onto the TV screen. And then we have a box with a small fan underneath it, pulling air, which is actually emulating any kind of movement in the mattress, such as breathing, rolling over, any movement whatsoever you might perform in the mattress. Now we're going to demonstrate Generation 1 versus Elite Foam's COOLTOUCH. Generation 1 is the gel coated only onto the surface with a thin layer of plastic laminated on top, restricting any and all airflow. Where Elite Foam's COOLTOUCH is actually infused down into the cell walls, still maintaining 100% of its airflow. What I'm going to do is grab Millie out, who is heated to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, place her onto the surface. And what you'll notice when I pull her off is how the heat is puddled on Generation 1 side, and on Elite Foam side it's already cooled back down. Your whites and your reds are your hottest colors, and they gradually go down to yellows, greens, and blues. What I'm going to do now is cut the fan on, emulating body movement in the mattress, any kind of breathing, rolling over whatsoever. And you'll notice that on the Elite Foam side it's completely cooled back off down to blues and purples, whereas on the Generation 1 side it's still white and red, with the heat being puddled onto the surface. Now we're going to demonstrate Generation 2 versus Elite Foam's COOLTOUCH. Generation 2 is the product that was ventilated in order to try and solve the problem with the heat buildup that you saw in the previous demonstration. The ventilation holes only allow for 1% airflow, where Elite Foam's COOLTOUCH still allows for 100% of its airflow. What I'm going to do is grab Millie out, who is heated to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, place her onto the surface, and what you'll see when I pull her off is that the Elite Foam side is much cooler than the Generation 2 side. Once I cut the fan on, you'll notice that the Elite Foam side is cooled all the way back off down to the blues and purples, whereas the Generation 2 side is still maintaining the heat puddled onto the surface. As you can see right around the holes, the heat is not built up because that is the only place in the topper that allows for air movement. Everywhere else on the topper, the heat is still puddled onto the surface. If you are tired of waking up hot and want the coolest, rejuvenating sleep experience, COOLTOUCH is your only option.